checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near.
Emergency Management Associates,
we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear side, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go.
let's get this show on the road. Shall we get this show on the road, guys? Emergency Management Associates is on the air. We're here for you right now, guys. Emergency Management Associates is on the air. Thank you for being here, guys. We appreciate it. We're coming on the air about an hour later than we normally wanted to do, but we have a lot to talk about tonight. First off, I want to make this clear. We're not going to talk a lot about natural events that are happening today because there aren't a lot. Yes, there are moderate earthquakes which are 4.0 to 4.9. There are a lot of those around the planet. There's a lot of small ones. There's a lot of minor earthquakes, but no major earthquakes have occurred during the past 24 hours. Nothing major. I've always told you that I will be here talking about major events when they happen. Right now we don't have that, but we have something else that I believe that's very important. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Okay? We're going to be talking about Maduro. President Maduro of Venezuela. Okay? In the past, we've talked to you about his narco boats leaving Venezuela headed for the United States and also into Europe. Okay? President Trump has blown them out of the water. Approximately 35 boats have been blown out of the water since President Trump instituted the policy beginning back in December. That's happened. We're trying to prevent narcotics and terrorist activities here in the United States. You're going to be very surprised when I get to the end of this program because I'm going to be naming names. I'm going to be naming names of those who are responsible, who are in our government. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. Now, I want to ask everyone the questions we begin today's broadcast. I want to ask this question. First off, when did you know about it? When did you know that this was happening? Okay, how did you find out about it? I got notified up front on Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, about 3 a.m. Now this goes deep, okay? How did the United States go into Venezuela to capture Maduro? President Donald Trump approved the strike before Christmas, after months of planning, including troops training using a model of Maduro's compound. They built a compound just like Maduro had in Venezuela. They had pictures. Let's talk about a CIA team. A steel door leading into a safe room. And before the door would close, it would make Maduro's capture take more time and risk a mission. What happened? I'm going to be talking about that as well. President Trump gave the Venezuelan leader his last chance to step down on Friday. Maduro mocked President Trump. There's a video showing Maduro mocking President Trump, dancing around, saying, oh, he's not going to do anything. In a private phone call a week ago, President Trump told Nicolas Maduro that he had to go. But at that point, an armada of U.S. warships were floating off of Venezuela's shoreline. They've been there for some time, taking out narco boats. A CIA team had crept into the country, tracking Maduro's every move, and all his habits as well, where he slept, what he ate, and where he traveled to. President Trump told him, quote, you have to surrender, recalling the conversation in a news conference on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock from his Mar-a-Lago home. Maduro took the gamble of his life. He took the gamble. He wasn't willing to even give up at this point. He took the gamble. Guess what? He lost the gamble. He lost the gamble, guys. That's an incredible thing. He lost the gamble. Now, he took the gamble of his life. He came close to giving in to Trump, what Trump told him to do, but he decided instead to stay put. Okay? That act of defiance, this one act of defiance, set in motion the final phase of a secret and risky plan to exit Maduro by force. They evicted Maduro by force. Okay? At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time Friday night, President Trump gave the final order to launch the raid on Venezuela. This was called Operation Absolute Resolve, the most audacious military action in either of President Trump's terms. It is based on more than 15 interviews of White House administration and congressional officials. They also made public statements. As early as last August, the CIA quietly sent a small unit into Venezuela with the goal of providing extraordinary insight into Maduro's movements. They were tracking him. They wanted to make sure that when we went into Venezuela, that we would go in there safely. We wanted to know where he was at all times. He was tracked even by satellite. Even his pets were known to U.S. intelligence agents. Elite troops trained for months, going as far as to use a replica of Venezuela presidential compound based on intelligence that the U.S. had gathered. Trump said in an interview, the same way the troops were killed who killed Osama bin Laden. They practiced in 2011 and they practice now. With bin Laden's compound model, of Abbottabad, Pakistan. Just like in Pakistan, they built a model of Maduro's compound in Venezuela. They trained with what President Trump called a massive blowtorch in case they had to cut through steel walls into Maduro's safe room. Maduro had a safe room in his compound. I'm going to come back to that in a minute, so please remember this. He had a steel safe room in his compound. At the same time, a core Trump administration team worked privately on the project for months, holding regular meetings and phone calls and briefings of President Trump and a person knowledgeable about the matter. The group consisted of some of the people Trump said will now be running Venezuela. Yeah. They spoke with people that were going to be running Venezuela, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. Throughout this past fall, President Trump steadily ramped up the pressure on Maduro. In September, the Trump administration began sinking boats that were shipping cocaine and other illicit drugs towards American shores and also into Europe. We sunk them. At least 35 alleged drug vessels so far have been sunk, killing 114 people. Yes, we killed at least 114 people. This was necessary to prevent deaths on our own shores. Fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine have been shipped from Venezuela for years. President Trump said he was going to stop it. When he took office a year ago, he said he was going to stop it. He has now. We have sunk 35 alleged drug vessels, and we have also killed 114 people from the cartel. The rationale for the boat strike shifted over time. We need to remember what's happened here. But the media now wants people to believe that the American president was just wanting to destroy the Maduro regime. We're going to talk about that. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wells said the purpose was to attack the boats to keep the drugs from entering this country. The media is saying the purpose was to get Maduro to surrender. Remember that. The mainstream media is keeping the heat off of Maduro and telling everyone that President Trump is at fault here. Okay? The media told us that Wiles said the attack on the Venezuelan mainland would require congressional approval, something the White House hasn't gotten. That's important too. The White House, President Trump didn't need congressional approval to do what he did. I want to emphasize that. President Trump did not need congressional approval to go in there and take Maduro out. Never have. Never have. This was not a declared war. President Trump has the authority for 45 days to declare war before he has to even go to Congress to get approval. 45 days. This assault took only a matter of hours. A matter of hours here. What the media wants everyone to believe is that President Trump has to get congressional approval for his actions. The media's forgotten one thing. President Trump only has to obtain congressional approval for military action over 5 days of action. That was not necessary in this case. The same month, America's most advanced aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, the biggest and best aircraft carrier in our fleet, had swept into the Caribbean Sea as part of a military buildup that Trump believed got the attention of Maduro. President Trump told a news conference Saturday morning, a lot of ships are out there. A lot of ships are out there. Held this news conference here. President Trump left the White House for holidays on December 19th, with Mar-a-Lago serving as his headquarters. His headquarters, guys. For the final planning of the maneuver. He finished planning it while he was at Mar-a-Lago. Nobody even had any clue what was actually going on. Now, President Trump approved this operation before Christmas, though the exact date was uncertain until it happened. Venezuela wasn't his only worry. On Christmas Day, he announced that he had ordered strikes on militants in Nigeria. Why? Because ISIS militants, ISIS terrorists, were in Nigeria killing Christian people. Killing Christian people. And President Trump said he was not going to tolerate it any longer. At a New Year's Eve party at his home in Mar-a-Lago, dressed in a tuxedo with the First Lady Melania by his side, President Trump was asked by reporters about his resolution for 2026. President Trump said, "Peace on earth." So secret was the Venezuela assault that even the precise timing was not widely known at the Pentagon until Friday night. Two officials said the timing was of such a military operation would have had wider coordination. Usually military operations have wider coordination. They didn't want anybody to know what's going on. That's why this was so successful. Vice President Vance went to Trump's West Palm Beach golf course and met with President Trump during the day on Friday to discuss the strikes. Vice President Vance left before the attack had started, in deference to concerns that a late-night motorcade movement might tip off Venezuela about the upcoming raid. Wind and cloud cover in Caracas had delayed the attack for days. Friday, the weather broke. The moon was full, and the skies had mostly cleared. Acceptable conditions for pilots and crews. The mission was on, and the permission was given to continue. Trump told the Pentagon and the troops, quote, "Good luck and Godspeed," unquote. Trump spent much of the night and early morning hours at his home watching the attack play out on closed-circuit television. A picture released by the White House shows him sitting at a table, fingers interlocked, wearing a jacket but not necessarily his customary tie, staring intently at what presumably was a video screen which was out of the frame. Standing to his left, Marco Rubio. To his right, John Ratcliffe. Stephen Miller was seated, arms crossed. At least 150 aircraft flew towards Caracas, Venezuela, from 20 different locations, from 20 different bases, land and sea. The fleet included bombers, fighters, and craft that specialized in intelligence and reconnaissance and surveillance. The crew's age range in age from 20 to 49 years of age. Their ages range from 20 to 49 years of age. Very young people. Darkness cloaked the Venezuelan capital. President Trump suggested that the U.S. had to cut the electricity in Caracas to gain an edge in the battle. They did that. They did it under the cover of darkness. Telephone, radio, and other communications were silenced, cut off. All electricity and phone communication had been cut. Flying at 100 feet above the water, helicopters carried the special forces and law enforcement officials who plucked Maduro from his residence with his wife. Other aircraft fired weapons to disable Venezuela's air defense systems and clear a path for the helicopters. Flames were seen billowing from explosions. Let me show you a picture of that. Flames were seen billowing from the explosion at Fort Tiuna, a large military complex in Caracas, Venezuela. At 1 a.m. Saturday morning, U.S. soldiers had reached the compound in Caracas. Where Maduro and his wife were staying. This was a heavily fortified military fortress. It was a military fort. They lived on base. That was to try to protect Maduro from anyone, including his own people, from getting at him. When Delta Force breached Maduro's residence, he and his wife were taken completely by surprise. Remember this. He was taken completely by surprise. I'm going to tell you something else that happened right before this. Maduro tried to escape into a steel safe room, but he didn't make it. He didn't make it in time. The forces took Maduro and his wife, Cecilia Flores, into custody. A firefight broke out after Maduro was captured. A U.S. helicopter was, according to U.S. officials, shot at and partially disabled. No Americans were killed, though there were several injuries to U.S. troops. All of those injured U.S. troops are in stable condition today. By 3:30 a.m., at that time, the air in Caracas smelled of gunpowder and smoke. The U.S. Embassy in Venezuela cautioned American citizens to shelter in place. Less than an hour later, President Trump broke the news to the world on social media, told everyone about it. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. Flown out of the country. This is one of the first pictures of Maduro that was on the USS Iwo Jima, an assault ship out off the coast of Venezuela. The White House posted this picture of Maduro wearing blackout glasses on the USS assault ship Iwo Jima in a sweatsuit, handcuffed, at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Maduro was at Stewart Airport north of New York City. Stewart Airport in New York City. From there, he was taken off the plane, transported to a jail in New York City later Saturday afternoon. He was in a prison, a United States prison, Saturday afternoon. Weeks ago, U.S. authorities had obtained an indictment against Maduro and his wife for drug trafficking. Today, Maduro was expected to make his first court appearance. He and his alleged co-conspirators face prosecution for a scheme in which a cycle of narcotics-based corruption lines the pockets of Venezuelan officials and their families, while also benefiting the violent narco-terrorists who operate with impunity on Venezuelan soil, who help produce and transport tons of cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl to the United States according to the indictment. Let me show you that video today, what happened. Maduro went to court.
Breaking right now at noon, ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro set to make his first court appearance at this hour in Manhattan.
It comes after Maduro and his wife were captured over the weekend in Caracas. Let's go right to live pictures outside the courthouse where a hearing is scheduled to start at noon. And Local 10's Ross Ketchke joins us live from there.
And he's going to tell us more about the drug trafficking and other charges Maduro and his wife are now facing. Ross, a big crowd there to see this happen.
Well, yeah, an enormous crowd here, guys. Really the eyes of the world on southern Manhattan right now. You can see behind us reporters, camera crews from all around the globe here outside the federal courthouse for Nicolas Maduro's arraignment. He was taken here to the federal courthouse just a few hours ago. Now he is inside that building waiting to see a federal judge.
Nicolas Maduro, the ousted Venezuelan president, arrived by armed motorcade to a courthouse in New York City Monday morning wearing handcuffs, where he's preparing to face drugs and weapons charges. He and his wife, Celia Flores, were dragged from their bedrooms during a large-scale U.S. military operation, according to two sources familiar with the operation. President Trump said the U.S. will control Venezuela indefinitely without giving any details.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transitions.
The president said Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth would work with a team to help run the country and would be willing to work with Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez. Rodriguez, however, appearing loyal to the Maduro government.
We demand the immediate release of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, the only president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
On Sunday, Rubio offering little clarification on what exactly U.S. control of Venezuela would look like.
So it's not running, it's running policy. The policy with regards to this. We want Venezuela to move in a certain direction because not only do we think it's good for the people of Venezuela, it's in our national interest.
Around the world and in the United States, some are happy for the controversial leader to be gone. Others, though, voicing skepticism about the U.S.'s motives, denouncing the move as a kidnapping and raising concerns about the future rule of law.
And behind us here on the sidewalk outside the federal courthouse, you can see the NYPD actually setting up even more barricades because of the crowd that continues to grow as Nicolas Maduro's arraignment is set to get underway any moment now here in southern Manhattan. In the meantime, though, happening just across town here in New York City, a little bit earlier this morning, an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss that mission from the United States over the weekend in Venezuela. Other criminal case you might see here in the United States, it's going to be that same kind of operating procedure happening here, but with the added spectacle like you see outside here with such international interest in what's happening inside of that courtroom.
Well, Ross, real quick about that international interest. I mean, certainly there's a tremendous number of press there, but what about just regular people showing up to be in this action to see what this historical moment is going to bring? Are there a lot of them as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes up a pretty sizable part of this crowd here in southern Manhattan as well. Just about one block down the sidewalk from where we're standing right now. It's a little bit difficult to see, but there is a large crowd of protesters here who are saying they are upset with this U.S. foreign intervention into Venezuela. We've also seen a number of people out here carrying Venezuelan flags, actually saying thank you to President Donald Trump. They are glad to see Maduro removed from power. So we really are seeing both sides of the reaction to this U.S. action in Venezuela playing out here on the sidewalks just outside of the federal courthouse.
Okay, that's what happened. Okay, all weekend long from Saturday afternoon on, there have been protests happening in Venezuela and here in the United States, mostly around New York. Like I said, mostly around New York. Now, a lot of things that happen I'm going to tell you about. In Venezuela, look at this. People are celebrating Maduro's taken out of power. Celebrating. Loving it. Loving it, guys. Let me play a little video here for you.
Venezuela. ¿Listo? Venezuela. Al fin, señor, gracias. Gracias, mi Dios.
People celebrating Maduro's capture. But here in the United States, people protest against President Trump. Why? Why? Because these people here in the United States, they don't like President Trump. They never have. They've tried to do everything in their power to discredit President Trump. They're still doing that. They are still doing that, guys. It's incredible what's going on. Here's a protest against President Trump. Look at these signs. These signs had not even been a chance to be made. Who handed off these signs? Who made these signs for the protesters? These are not hand-lettered signs. These are not hand-lettered signs. These signs are commercially made. George Soros, among one. There's a bunch of them. Who paid for these signs? George Soros and a lot of other people. Okay? George Soros, in my opinion, should be ousted out of the United States. He should be captured and exiled out of this country. Never allowed to be back in it. And when we do that, we need to seize his assets as well. He and his son are against the United States, and they have no business being here. But they're here. They should not be allowed to be here. Trying to condemn the United States and what we do here in this country. Maduro made it to court. He made his appearance and he pleaded not guilty. At the hearing today, a date of trial was set. So now he knows when he's going to appear next. As we get more information about that, I'll give that information to you. But again, the primary reason we took him out was to make sure the narcotics and other illicit drugs were stopped. Okay? We also have stopped the illicit money that was going to pay for these narcotics. Stopped it. Following the strike, President Trump made it clear that Operation Absolute Resolve wasn't a one-off, nor was it solely about apprehending someone the U.S. considers a fugitive. The military campaign amounts to a dramatic escalation of presidential authority, with President Trump attempting to mold the hemisphere to a more revised version of America's first foreign policy. America First foreign policy. That's what President Trump has said for us. America First. In a twist on the 19th century Monroe Doctrine, which asserts a distinct sphere of influence for the young American nation, Trump is demonstrating the will that he will use hard power to promote U.S. interests and create advantageous conditions for business. He's calling it the Don Roe Doctrine. The Don Roe Doctrine. Now, the Don Roe Doctrine, as President Trump has called it, isn't leaving Venezuela soon. We're going to run it, essentially until a time when a proper transition of power can take place. Look at his fateful call with Maduro. Trump suggested at the news conference yesterday morning, or Saturday morning, that Maduro had chosen poorly and not heeding his command to surrender. Now he probably wishes he had. President Trump said that Congress wouldn't be notified until the attack was underway. Interesting. Remember that. Trump did not notify Congress before the attack was already underway because he was afraid that lawmakers will leak the details. But someone did. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Remember that name? Hakeem Jeffries. He's the House Minority Leader from New York. No small surprise there. Hakeem Jeffries pushed back Sunday on Face Nation and other Sunday news programs, saying that the Trump administration's justification for capturing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was not in line with U.S. policy. He said there is no evidence that the administration has presented to justify the actions that were taken in terms of there being an imminent threat to the health, the safety, and the well-being of the national security of the American people. Interesting. The New York Democrat added that the operation which resulted in Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, being taken into custody and transported to a federal detention center in Brooklyn, New York, amounted to an act of war. Yeah. Jeffries said it was an act of war. It wasn't. President Trump told reporters Saturday that capturing Maduro was a necessary step to stop the flow of drugs and gangs into the United States and to cease the transport of sanctioned oil from Venezuela. He added, Maduro threatened regional security by allying with the likes of China, Russia, and Iran. China, Russia, and Iran. Okay? The president also said that the United States will run Venezuela until such times as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition, noting that American oil companies will fix the South American nation's petroleum infrastructure. American oil companies will fix the South American nation's oil petroleum structure. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. We're going to fix them. They're in disrepair. Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat from New York, said that he expressed skepticism at how effective such a strategy will be, saying under Trump's track record indicates that it remains to be seen whether the people of Venezuela are going to be better off. They think they are already. The Venezuelan people think they're already better off. You saw them celebrating. Jeffries would have everyone to believe that President Trump has done a terrible job running the United States of America. Jeffries claims that life hasn't gotten better for the American people over the last year. Life has gotten worse. Oh, really? Jeffries, I want to debate you. Hakeem Jeffries, if you see this video, I want to debate you. Gas prices have dropped to $2 a gallon. In some places, they're under $2 a gallon. Here where I live in North Carolina, gas prices are $2.35 a gallon. Before that, they were nearly $3.50 a gallon. Imagine that. During the height of the Biden administration, gas prices were $3.50 a gallon, approaching $4 a gallon. And some places else in the country, gas prices have been higher. Now they're coming down. Other prices on food and clothing and other things have also gone down as a result of gas prices also going down. The operation to capture Maduro was met with praise from GOP lawmakers on Capitol Hill, and anger, of course, from the Democrats, who lamented that Congress was not consulted beforehand. Really? Like we said, Congress was not notified beforehand because there have been leaks. Yes, these idiot little baby young people, yes, young people, not necessarily young though. These little baby Democrats think that they can get away with murder. They leak information. They've done this on many occasions. And I'm going to tell you about Hakeem Jeffries in just a minute. Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio argued Saturday that the briefing Congress first would have jeopardized the mission. Jeffries said Sunday that once Congress returns to session this week, quote, we must take action to ensure that no further military steps occur absent explicit congressional approval with regard to Venezuela. Interesting. Hakeem Jeffries, don't you understand the law? That President Trump has absolute power here. He does not notify Congress until 45 days after a war has been declared. He does not have to go forward with a declaration to Congress until 45 days has elapsed. Then he must go for Congress to get approval to continue. President Trump didn't have war footing here. He had a mission. Now, I hope you're sitting down here. Hakeem Jeffries is the one person that called President Maduro right before he was seized by U.S. forces. Hakeem Jeffries tried to call Maduro to tip him off. The one thing that President Trump had done to cut off electricity and cut off communications in Venezuela worked. Otherwise, Maduro might have had time to get to that safe room, or enough time to protect himself. Hakeem Jeffries is a leaker. Hakeem Jeffries was a leak here. Make no mistake about it. As I said, I hope you're sitting down. Venezuela Chief of Intelligence Hugo Caraval has officially released every U.S. senator's name who's on the Venezuela list of politicians taking millions of dollars in kickbacks from the Maduro regime. Kickbacks. Go figure. The Venezuelan people have released the documents proving who's been doing what. Proving who has been doing what. Millions have been taken away from Venezuela in terms of money. Money, guys, right here. This is list number one. I have two lists here. Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. Of course, Mark Kelly from Arizona. No surprise for me to see his name here. Mark Kelly is a turncoat. Mark Kelly is a turncoat. Ruben Gallego from Arizona. Alex Padilla from California. Where have we heard that name before? Alex Padilla was protesting against our Homeland Security Secretary being in Los Angeles. Yeah. He was arrested by Homeland Security forces because he did not identify himself before he burst into the news conference with our Homeland Security Secretary last year. John Hickenlooper, former mayor of Denver, now a U.S. congressman from Colorado. Michael Bennet from Colorado. Richard Blumenthal, Democrat from New York. Chris Murphy, Democrat from Connecticut. Chris Coons, Democrat from Delaware. John Ossoff, Georgia. Georgia, guys. Crazy, huh? It certainly is. Just a second, I think I have too many windows open here. Like I said, John Hickenlooper, Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, Chris Murphy, Connecticut, Chris Coons, Delaware, John Ossoff, Georgia, Raphael Warnock, Georgia, Brian Schatz from Hawaii, Mazzy Hirono, Hawaii, Dick Durbin from Illinois. Yes, Dick Durbin. Tammy Duckworth, Illinois. Republican Chuck Grassley, Iowa. Joni Ernst from Iowa. Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. Rand Paul from Kentucky. Bill Cassidy from Louisiana. Susan Collins from Maine. Angus King from Maine. Chris Van Hollen, Maryland. Angela Alsobrooks, Maryland. Elizabeth Warren, Massachusetts. Ed Markey, Massachusetts. That is just list number one. Let me show you list number two. All of these senators have taken money from Venezuela. Unreal. The second list here. Gary Peters, Democrat from Michigan. Lisa Slotkin. Where have we heard that name? The same Lisa Slotkin that was protesting President Trump several weeks ago, saying that President Trump had stepped out of line and told U.S. troops that President Trump had issued illegal orders, which he had not. Lisa Slotkin ought to be in prison with also that idiot from Arizona. Emma Klobuchar, Minnesota. Tina Smith, Minnesota. Roger Wicker, Mississippi. Deb Fisher, Republican, Nebraska. Jackie Rawson, Democrat, Nevada. Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat from Nevada. Jean Sheehan, New Hampshire. Maggie Hassan, New Hampshire. Cory Booker, New Jersey. Andy Kim, New Jersey. Martin Heinrich, Democrat, New Mexico. Ben Ray Lujan, Democrat, New Mexico. Kirsten Gillibrand, real troublemaker from New York, Democrat. Tom Tillis, a Republican from where? North Carolina. Tom Tillis, I am deeply disappointed in you. James Lankford, Oklahoma. Ron Wyden, Oregon. Jeff Merkley, Oregon. Dave McCormick, Pennsylvania. Jack Smith, Rhode Island. Sheldon Whitehorse, Rhode Island. John Toon. John Toon from South Dakota. He's a Senate Majority Leader in South Dakota. Senate Majority Leader here. Taking money from Venezuela. John Cornyn from Texas. Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont. The vote's Democrat. He's a Democrat socialist. Peter Welch from Vermont. Mark Warner from Virginia. Every one of these people, guys, every one of them have taken money from Venezuela. And they think nothing about it. They think it's okay. They think it's plain and simple okay to take money from our government. It's okay. Now, every one of those people taking money from Maduro, they were on the Venezuelan list of politicians taking millions of dollars in kickbacks from the Maduro regime and Venezuelan drug trafficking organization cartels in exchange for using their government influence to undermine President Trump. Yeah. And undermine Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and their ongoing war with these narco-terrorists. Our senators were paid off. Every one of these senators is guilty of providing aid and comfort to the enemy during a time of war against drugs. The war against drugs has been ongoing since President Bush, 1998. A time of war. And every one of these senators has blood on their hands. They have blood on their hands of their fellow American citizens. Hundreds of thousands of whom have died from drug overdoses every year at the hands of these criminal drug trafficking organizations that bring deadly drugs into our country. The blood is on the hands of these senators, including Republicans. Republicans in leadership of Congress. I hope each and every one of them are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and may their names forever live in shame for their treason. Every U.S. senator on the list, from Murkowski down to the ones in Rhode Island, all of them. Chuck Grassley from Iowa, a Republican, a supposed conservative. Joni Ernst from Iowa, a supposed conservative. Mitch McConnell from Kentucky that should be retiring, conservative, taking money from Venezuela and Maduro. Rand Paul, also from Kentucky. Bill Cassidy from Louisiana. Susan Collins, who's a Republican from Maine, which is a very liberal state, who votes with the Democrats. Yeah. Roger Wicker from Mississippi, a supposed conservative. Deb Fisher from Nebraska, supposed conservative. Dave McCormick from Pennsylvania, supposed conservative. John Thune, who is a Senate Majority Leader, taking money from Maduro. John Cornyn from Texas, I'm deeply disappointed in John. Jim Justice from West Virginia. Jim, I'm appalled that your name is on this list. Unreal. These people should be disgusted with themselves. Taking money to support drugs in our country. Yeah, that's what they've done. There is no excuse for this. None whatsoever. And then Hakeem Jeffries, trying to give Maduro a chance to get away. Guess what? Hakeem Jeffries should be arrested immediately. He should be arrested immediately by his act of war against his country. Fact. That's a fact, guys. There is no excuse for this kind of behavior. None. None at all. Do any of you have any questions for me? Ashley Laurel is here in the chat saying we got to get rid of these corrupt judges, or what good will it do to arrest anyone? I agree. All these corrupt judges, all these liberal judges around this country need to be arrested and removed from their jobs. President Trump right now has the ability. President Trump can fire each and every one of these judges and replace them with people who will enforce the law. He has that ability. I don't know why he hasn't done it. I honestly don't know why he hasn't done it. What has happened during the past 15, 20 years here in the United States government? It's appalling what our people have gotten away with. They're not paying attention to the real world. They're not paying attention to the real world, guys. They're not even trying to enforce the law at all. Not one link at all. Period. I am so ticked off right now. I am so ticked off. Guys, before we leave the air today, I want to talk about some earthquakes. Okay? Let's go around the world and talk about earthquakes now. Okay, right here we have Kamchatka Peninsula. USGS is not showing any earthquakes here. We have several 4.0, 4.9 earthquakes here at the Kamchatka Peninsula as a result of an 8.8 earthquake that I still say was at least a 9.4 weeks and weeks ago. As a result of that major earthquake, we're going to continue to see earthquakes here at the Kamchatka Peninsula for weeks and months, possibly even years. That earthquake was a major earthquake, a complete plate rupture from the Sea of Okhotsk plate to the Pacific plate. Complete rupture of that plate. And as a result, we're still having earthquakes here, regardless of whether the USGS wants to show them or not. Over here in the Sea of Okhotsk here, this is a large 5.2 earthquake here. Northwest of the Kuril Islands here in the Sea of Okhotsk. Further south here to the east is a large 5.0 earthquake. Southeast of Shikotan, Russia. Shikotan Island in Russia. Okay, let's go south here. They're not showing all the earthquakes here, just northeast of Honshu, Japan. We had a major earthquake that hit here, and earthquakes are still hitting here. I'm appalled that USGS is still not showing these earthquakes. Usually they do. Down here in the Izu Islands here. Izu Islands just southeast of Japan. This is a 4.8 earthquake here. 4.8 moderate earthquake here. Let's back out here. Okay? Now, look down here in Indonesia. They're showing 2 earthquakes here in Indonesia. There are 38 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 38. They're not showing 1. Yes, they're showing 2 of them, but they're not showing the majority. They're showing this earthquake here. Papua New Guinea. This is a large 5.2 earthquake here. 5.2 earthquake. 62 miles north-northwest of Finschhaven, Papua New Guinea. See this island right here? A lot of these islands do not have people live on them. Some of them are uninhabited. Now this place has names. That means this place has villages on it. This earthquake was large enough, I believe, the people living here on this island may have felt this earthquake. And if so, it did major damage to people's homes, people's livelihoods, maybe even cost their lives. People here in Papua New Guinea don't have much money. That's a fact. That's a fact. But people down here in Finschhaven, Papua New Guinea, they probably didn't feel it. But the people up here did. Okay? Going back over here into Indonesia here, north of Java. This is a 4.4 moderate earthquake. Off in the ocean here. Off in the ocean here. This 4.4 earthquake was not felt. 59 miles northwest of Patong, Indonesia. Northwest of Java, Indonesia. The other earthquakes here in Indonesia were felt. Earthquakes all over Sumatra, for example, right here. Sumatra, Indonesia, right here. Around Java, Indonesia. East of Java here. Central Indonesia up here. Northern Indonesia. Then we have earthquakes that did occur here in the Philippines. They don't even take notice of them. That's a crying shame. 4.0, 4.4 earthquakes here in the Philippines. Small earthquakes as well, 3.0, 3.4 earthquakes here in the Philippines. They're not talking about. Sad day. Sad day. We talked about this one over in Papua New Guinea. They're not showing anything here in Australia. They're showing 2 earthquakes here in the Fiji area. This earthquake is closer to Hihi-Fotonga. This also is a 4.4 earthquake, 162 miles deep. 162 miles deep, that is a fairly shallow earthquake. But this one further south here, this is a 4.5 earthquake. 4.5 earthquake, this is 152 miles deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. During the weekend, we had a earthquake here, a 4.5 earthquake here in Fiji that was 657 kilometers deep, a very deep earthquake. That earthquake Saturday, being a deep earthquake, is going to propagate or birth a larger, shallow earthquake in the next 2 days to 10 days. Okay? It's already been Saturday, I'm giving it Sunday, today is 2 days, and even tomorrow. We may have a large earthquake as early as tomorrow. And I'm talking about a 6.0 to a 6.1 earthquake in this region. By tomorrow or within the next 7 days after that. Okay? That's what happened there. Going over here into South America. 37 earthquakes have occurred here in South America today. They're not showing the majority of earthquakes down here in central Chile and Argentina. Some of these are 2.5s, 3.6s, 3.7s, 3.8s, 4.5s, and 4.8 earthquakes here in Chile. Further north, they're only showing 1 earthquake here in northern Chile, a 4.3 earthquake, 64 kilometers deep. Shell earthquake. There are 8 other earthquakes here as well. Most of those are 4.0 earthquakes. Most. Going north here into Peru, offshore Peru here. This is a 4.4 earthquake, 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. 4.4 earthquake here. 58 miles west of San Juan, Peru. Going over here into Colombia. Colombia here. This was a 5.0 large earthquake. 5.0 large earthquake here in the mountainous regions of Colombia. Yes, there are people that live in this region. Small villages and small towns. They felt this earthquake. This was 105 kilometers deep, and it's a fairly shallow quake. They felt this earthquake. Deep earthquakes don't do as much damage, but shallow earthquakes do. People here in this Colombia region don't have a lot of money. They're very poor. They've also been involved in human and drug trafficking here in Colombia. Sad. Sad. Here in Central America, we have 13 earthquakes here. 13 earthquakes. From Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, into Guatemala. 13 earthquakes. 3.5s, 3.7s, 4.2s, 4.5s, and 4.7 earthquakes here. Southern Mexico. They show us 1 earthquake. 48 earthquakes here in southern Mexico today. This is a 4.3 just offshore from southern Mexico. 4.3 moderate earthquake, 21.8 kilometers deep. Actually, miles deep, 48 miles deep, very shallow earthquake. But there are a lot of other earthquakes here, including 4.3s, 4.4s, 4.2s, 4.0s, and a lot of 3.0, 3.9s as well. They're not showing them. They are not showing them. All of these earthquakes here in Mexico will one day soon be up here in California. The seismic energy here flows north along the San Andreas Fault here. The San Andreas Fault comes out of southern Mexico through the Gulf of California here, up into northern Mexico and into southern California here. Fact. Fact. Over here in the Salton Sea here. Basically southern Salton Sea here. North of Calipatria. USGS has this as a 1.3 tremor. They say it is 7 miles southeast of Bombay Beach. It's not. It's not southeast. Bombay Beach is way up here. This was southeast. We way out here in the desert. It's not. It is southwest of Bombay Beach. Southwest of Bombay Beach. Why is that important? Why do you think that's important? Bombay Beach here, guys, it's on your screen. Bombay Beach here has 8 3.0, 3.5, 3.7 earthquakes here today. 8 of them. Does USGS show it on the map? Heck no. They don't want anybody to know what's going on, but I could go to seismograms and prove it. They don't prove anything. Last Sunday, a week ago Sunday, I was told by the member of USBS that they put up all earthquakes that they can. That was an absolute lie. He's told me that they list earthquakes as soon as they get information on them. Then why are they not listing earthquakes here? Why are they not showing 152 earthquakes down here in Calipatria region here? Calipatria right here. Why are they not showing earthquakes? 152 earthquakes on average. Anywhere from 70 to 150 earthquakes. Today there was 152 earthquakes here. Why they're not showing them? Inquiring minds want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Yes, the majority of those earthquakes are tremors, 1.0 to 1.9. Yes, they also include 2.0 to 2.9 and 3.0 earthquakes. Calipatria. Further down here to the south, just north of El Centro, there's a town called, actually I don't want to see Brawley here. Just north of El Centro is a town called Imperial. The town of Imperial. We have 3.0 earthquakes here in Imperial today. Further south here in El Centro, good old El Centro, we have dozens of 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here. Why are they not showing them here? Why are they not showing them here? Earthquakes are here. Earthquakes are here. We can go over here to the east here. Holtville here. The town of Holtville. There is a museum of sorts called the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. They have a seismograph here, recording earthquakes happening. Minor earthquakes for the most part. Yes, I believe there's one 3.0 earthquake if they still have it on the list. Yeah. Minor earthquakes and one small 3.0 here in Holtville. Why are they not showing them? Dozens upon dozens of tremors, minor earthquakes, and one 3.0 here in Holtville. Why are they not showing them? On the average, here in the Imperial Valley, there are 500 earthquakes on a daily basis. They are showing us one earthquake. That's sad. That's very sad. Over here in the west, Pine Valley, San Diego County, East San Diego County. This is the top of the mountain. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake here. 2.1 minor earthquake here. North of there, this is a 0.8 microquake. 11 miles east of Julian. 11 miles east of Julian down here. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy. Again, they don't want to show us earthquakes here. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. Over here in this region right here. This is the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. Earthquakes. Earthquakes. This is a 1.1 tremor here. This is a 0.7 microquake. This is a 1.3 tremor. This is 0.7 microquake. Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. There are 400 earthquakes a day here in Los Angeles, in the greater LA area. Why are they not showing them? They're showing us 1.2 tremor here in Long Beach. Long Beach. We have more than just one 1.2 tremor here. Hundreds of earthquakes hit here in Long Beach every day. Microquakes, tremors, and minor earthquakes for the most part. Yes, here in Long Beach, we've also seen 3.0, 3.2 small earthquakes here in Long Beach. They're not showing them. Yes, we have earthquakes here in Los Angeles, all over Los Angeles. How about Anaheim? How about Anaheim right here? We have 4 3.0 earthquakes here in Anaheim today. Why are they not showing at least one of them? Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm are here in Anaheim. Sad day here. They don't want to take responsibility for anything, nothing. Tremors and minor earthquakes happening all over Los Angeles, Orange County, Riverside, and even San Bernardino counties. Earthquakes happening everywhere. This earthquake right here is in the Redlands, 1.0 tremor. This is just west of the San Andreas. This is actually sitting on the San Jacinto Fault. Out here to the east, this is the San Andreas Fault. 0.7 Mentone, California, on the San Andreas. Earthquakes here. Why are they not showing them? A lot more than this. This earthquake here is in Cabazon, California. This is a 1.2 tremor. Why are they not showing earthquakes here? There are plenty of earthquakes here. Plenty of them. They should be showing them. Guys, Los Angeles is due a 6.5 to a 7.5 earthquake, and the San Andreas Fault here is capable of an 8.5 major earthquake here on the San Andreas Fault. Yeah. The San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded here. Locked and loaded. When this fault goes, this whole area will be devastated. When the San Andreas Fault goes, this whole area will be devastated. The San Andreas Fault will activate the other faults in this region. Look out. Because when it does, we will have large earthquakes all over Southern California. Fact. Fact. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Northern California, San Francisco Bay region, up here to the east. Dublin, California. Dublin, California here. North of San Ramon. 1.8 tremor right between the Calaveras and the Hayward. West of the opening to San Francisco Bay, on the San Andreas Fault, we have a 2.0 minor earthquake here. 2.0 earthquake here, just 4 miles southwest of Muir Woods. 4 miles south of Muir Woods here. Muir Woods here, M-U-I-R Woods here, is a redwood forest here, right here. 4 miles southwest there, we have an earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. A 2.0 earthquake right there. 2.0 earthquake right there. Earthquakes are happening here, guys. Just east of Monterey Bay, we have a 1.2 tremor here near Aromas, California. Aromas, California, on the San Andreas Fault. Just east of here on the Hayward. 1.5 here in Hollister, California. South of that on the San Andreas Fault. Pinnacles, oil and gas production here as well. Here's a 2.1 earthquake here. Pinnacles, California, on the San Andreas. South of there, Fairfield, California. 1.8 tremor here. Fairfield, California happens to be the place, the capital, earthquake capital of the world. Fairfield, California. 1.8 tremor here. Down here to the southwest on the Oceana Fault. 1.2 tremor here in Templeton, California. That's what's going on here. But that's only what the USGS wants to show us. Want to remind you, earthquakes are hitting here. Earthquakes are hitting here. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, they're showing us 2 minor tremors here. Over here in the Puget Sound, 1.1 tremor here near Indianola, Washington, in the Puget Sound. Don't let them fool you. There are hundreds of earthquakes all over this region, all over northwestern Washington. Hundreds of earthquakes every day. They show us one here. Out to the east, right here. This is a 0.8 microquake, 8 miles west of Antioch, Washington. Down here to the south, they're calling this an explosion. They're calling this an explosion in the river. Really? Since when do we have explosions here in the river? Doesn't happen. They see this is a 0.6 microquake, an explosion here in the river. I call BS. I call it BS. This was not an explosion. This was a microquake. This is an earthquake here in the river. Why? Because, folks, earthquake faults go underneath rivers. They follow riverbeds. This is an earthquake in the riverbed here. Make no mistake about it. That's an earthquake, whether the USGS wants to face it or not. This is not an explosion. It never was and never will be. Okay? That's what the USGS has to show us today. Unreal. Up here to southeast Alaska here, we have a new earthquake here. New earthquake. This is a 2.0 earthquake. This is 64 miles northwest of Yakutat, Alaska. Look where it's at. What do we have to say about this? Yes, this is a minor earthquake. Right here. Right alongside the fault line here. Right alongside the fault line. But it's here in a little fjord here. This is a small fjord here. What would happen if we had a much larger major quake here? We would have an explosion, literally. Earthquake would shake this ice to pieces. The ice would flow in these little bays and cause flooding. Major flooding in this area here. This earthquake here is a 1.7 tremor here. Right next to it. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. Just to the north and west. This is a 1.4 tremor here. Earthquakes are still happening here. All these earthquakes here are aftershocks of a 7.2 earthquake that happened here several weeks ago. This earthquake out to sea. This is also a 2.0 earthquake here. Don't let it fool you. This whole area is seismically active. Very seismically active. Out here to the east, a 3.8 small earthquake here. West of here, 1.7 tremor here. This is still seismically active. Over here in south central Alaska, near Tadlik, Alaska, just north of Valdez, we have a 2.3 earthquake here. Up here in Denali National Park, south of Mount McKinley, we have a 2.2 earthquake here. Northeastern reaches of Denali up here, we have a 2.6 earthquake here. Earthquakes are hitting here. On the far western side of Denali National Park here, we have a 1.8 tremor here. 1.8 tremor here, guys. Earthquakes are hitting here. We have no earthquakes here in the Arctic Circle area. No earthquakes at all here in northern Alaska. That's a good thing. Yes, we are having earthquakes down here to the south. This is normal. This happens all the time. All the time. Down here, we have a volcano. Old Ili Lama volcano is right here. We have earthquakes. Just northeast of the volcano here is a 0.0 supposedly surface quake. Guess what? It's not a surface quake, folks. This happens to be 3.5 miles deep. It's not a surface quake, USGS. This is a shallow earthquake. Shallow earthquake here. They say this is a 0.0 surface quake as well. 2.7 miles deep. Not a surface quake at all. At the volcano. This is a 0.6 microquake here. 1.9 miles deep inside the volcano. At the volcano, guys. 62 volcanoes around Alaska. Earthquakes happening at some of these volcanoes. And USGS doesn't even show all of them. They never show all the earthquakes. And a brand new earthquake here just south there. Brand new earthquake. This is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here near Karluk, Alaska. Karluk, Alaska. K-A-R-L-U-K, Alaska. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. Off the northeast coast of Kodiak Island, we have a 2.7 minor earthquake here. That's it. That's all she wrote here in Alaska. Okay? That's very simple. I want to go over here to the Eastern Continental Divide. We have an earthquake here. Maryville, Tennessee. Maryville, Tennessee, guys. This is in the Eastern Tennessee seismic zone. 1.8 tremor. But again, they're not showing all the earthquakes here either. We have plenty of earthquakes here to speak of. USGS shows us one. Sad day. The Tennessee seismic zone here on Eastern Continental Divide. That's what's happening here. Does anyone have any questions about anything here? Rich Quake says he doesn't really like how the lava is coming out from underneath Mount Etna. Could undermine the entire site. You're right. The lava coming out the side of the underside of the volcano could undermine the volcano and cause all kinds of problems. It could. It could happen. It's happened before. It's happened before. Mount Etna down here in southern Italy, Sicily area right here, has been erupting for a very long time. A very, very long time. Mount Etna and Stromboli are both erupting here. They've been erupting off and on for years now. more you just not want to even think about. They were erupting before I even started this program over almost 7 years ago. They're still going. They're still going. Rich, thank you for putting up the webcam for live. Yeah, it's going. Any questions, guys? USGS not showing anything anywhere in Europe. Nothing. Nothing Greece. Nothing Europe. Nothing here in the Middle East. There are earthquakes here, guys. There are plenty of earthquakes. Again, USGS doesn't want to show one of them. There are 1,700 earthquakes worldwide. 1,700 earthquakes worldwide. Yeah. Incredible. Why is USGS only saying there are 163? Actually, they say 165 now. 163 a few hours ago. And Pickering's here. Welcome, Ann. We appreciate you being here. She said she just got here. Thank you for being here, Ann. We appreciate you. Any questions, guys? Any questions at all? Any questions? Now, guys, I don't remember which one of you asked us to talk about water preparedness. If nothing happens tonight or tomorrow, I will show you earthquakes that have happened, but I'm going to share with you what is actually going on with preparedness, what we need to do to prepare to have water in our preparedness kits. Okay, I want to talk about water. You guys asked me to do it. I'm going to do it. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Guys, if not, I'm going to go on with our devotional here. At the end of our programs, we like to share something more positive. This comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap like bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give not grudgingly, or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. Let's give. Let's give, guys. God loves a cheerful giver. When we have it, please give it to God. Give it to God. During this program, I've been running our PayPal addresses here, 2 PayPal addresses, which you can give donations to our program, which we would greatly appreciate. Also, guys, you see our address here. Our email address is rltnspd.ema@gmail.com. Send us comments, send us questions, send us ideas what you want to see on this program. We'd love to see them. You can even send us criticisms. We like that as well. That helps us improve this channel. You also see our address, our mailing address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. You can send us cards and letters. We love cards and letters. We only got a handful of cards and letters from you this year. We'd love to see you more. Love to know how you're doing, where you see us from. Inside your cards and letters, you can also stick a donation. Wrap your donation, whether it's cash or a check, wrap it in the letter you sent us, and also in your card you can send us, wrap your donation there, and send us to our mailing address. Again, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401. Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I care about you greatly. Please, guys, have God's Spirit to be with you. Pray and read the scriptures. Pray and read the scriptures, guys. That will help you. That will help you get through anything that happens. Now, guys, I ask God to bless you and be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. Take care. See you soon. God bless.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright.